Alright, it is 9:46 and I've had one trade with INND and one missed buy. I tried to get filled for another setup, but I wasn't able to be a part of it. And at this point, this is the only stock that I'm looking at. At 9:33, I did buy 15,000 shares at 225, and that was right here, 225. And this was like a very quick morning panic bounce play setup. And I actually saw this one very quickly. I did not trade this one the way I was supposed to. I should have sold half of my position if it just seems like it's a bit crazy looking. I sold all of my position the same minute at 9:33 and I was at 228. So I sold right here and I was in right here because it was just too jumpy and that kind of threw me off a lot. And it's not like it was breaking my risk level the day low where I should be selling everything. Instead, it was just uptrending a little too much, which, actually sounds like a good thing. And yeah, that's what I need to do in the future. I need to at least sell half of my position if something like that happens. Not everything, unless it is breaking the day low or my risk level. And it did downtrend, and it was trying to hold this level. It had a wick below this range of 23 that it decided to hold. And I've seen this before where it has like a morning panic bounce play. It kind of uptrends and then it makes like a higher low off of the bottom somewhere. This one was a bit different because VWAP was already below the range. This thing was already trading above VWAP for the most part, so it was a bit different. Normally, when you see something like that, it's trading in this range right here, and then VWAP is at like 24.3, for example, and then ideally it gets to VWAP. Well, I did have an interest in buying it once it made like a higher low here off of this level, had a wick, and then it was trading a higher part of this breakout range of 23.8, and I did have an interest. I tried to buy 15,000 shares at 23.8 at 9:43. This one I actually could have been filled. I just didn't get filled, unfortunately. And super nice uptrend. I wasn't a part of it, but this one is one I could have realistically have been long. I just didn't get executed, unfortunately, and I probably would have sold half of my position by the time it got to here when it was at 247, and then my goal will be that it would downtrend and then ideally make another higher low off of this level, or in this case, it's aggressively trying to regain itself where the trend line is. So I'd probably be out now because it's starting to have distance from it, and it's like at this range where it's no longer trying to follow it. This could downtrend, and yeah, that would have been a nice trade. Unfortunately, I just wasn't a part of it. And then this first trade right here, I sold too quickly. I should have sold again half of my position, so maybe I deserve not being a part of this one if I'm going to sell too quickly. I'll keep looking at INND. That's pretty much the only one I'm interested in. I was hoping this one could uptrend for more than just one day, but it's already downtrending 33%. I'll make an update later. There's nothing else that I'm interested in. Alright, it is 7:41 and I haven't traded anything, but I was looking at INND and this one's a bit iffy, but I was looking at it for a potential setup in that it kind of looks like a very big bull flag. Maybe this could be part of the poll, and then it has the flag, and then it holds VWAP, and then it uptrends. But when you look at a 15-minute chart, it looks like this thing can make another leg down. So I'm pretty conflicted with this one, so I'm not going to trade it. I did have an interest with LWLG. It was downtrending, and I was going to trade a $40 risk level, even though this is a listed stock, because it used to be an OTC and it still trades like one. I had an interest, but I just don't like how there isn't that much price action. But it did eventually make a move after it broke these two trend lines right here. And the issue was that you can see the trend line was at 1051 and then it transitioned out of it and then it was at 1056 with a spread. This one likes to trade with a spread very often. And when it was doing stuff like that, I kind of lost the interest of being in the setup. But it did make a move from the 1050s all the way to VWAP to 1080, so that would have been profitable. And I was actually trying to consider buying 100 shares if I was going to be in a trade, so that would have been a lot more profitable. This could be like a higher low, like the move right here. It makes the bottom, gets to VWAP, downtrends, and now this is like the higher low, and maybe it tries to get above VWAP. That's something it can totally try to do. And another thing that I was taking into consideration was that when it had a drop right here, it turned around, but it had a wick, and then this one had a wick. So it's very common for it to do something like that. And I was also worried that, it does this downtrend and breaks above the trend lines, and then I'm in at 1055, and then we have a wick, and it gets below 1040 briefly, and that's just really bad. So that was another thing. No trades with this one, but this thing could have been a setup, and maybe in the future, if I see something like this again, I'll actually trade it. But yeah, that seems to be about it. I might not trade anything else today, and I do have other things to do to catch up with. So this might be the last recording, but if there's like a really nice setup, ideally, I'll make an update before the market close. Right, it is 10:10 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I'll be up $4.90, but today kind of sucks because I just wasn't happy with how I traded INND and that I didn't sell in pieces when it was uptrending, but instead I sold the whole thing because it was just a bit too much for me and it kind of threw me off. That was not good. In the future, I need to always sell in pieces on the way up unless it's breaking my support level or a risk level. That's when I can sell everything at once and do something like that. Ideally, in the future, I can be a part of a move like this and be much more profitable. And of course, I did try. I'm not sure if I went over it anymore, but I did try to buy INND at 943 when it was starting to develop, and I just wasn't able to be filled. I think I did go over it, but in case I didn't, I did see like how it was putting a higher low above this level, and it did make a move as high as 25.5, which was pretty nice. I felt like a lot of missed trades happened. And then with LWLG, I did hesitate on this one and I missed out, which really stinks, but maybe with more experience and confidence, I could be able to trade these. This one was a super profitable one. With INND, I could have made like 20 bucks with the size that I'm trading on this first one if I sold better. I could have made another perhaps with this setup right here. That's 40 bucks. And then LWLG, I could have made another maybe 20 bucks because it did get to VWAP and I would have had 100 shares. And then I even saw another attempt for a potential setup, and I did try to buy 100 shares at 1130, which was right here. And this one just happened too quickly. It's not as bad as this one because I at least placed an order. I just didn't get filled like with INND, but I still missed out on this one. This was like a double bottom, so it had the dip here, uptrends, and then it came back. This one actually ended up being pretty nice considering the fact that it's a double bottom. It wasn't like the original bounce. And that was it with that one. It really sucks. And then I did trade this one. This one, I actually don't mind the way I traded this one. This was BBIG, and I traded it because it was down like 20% on the day, and I thought it was like an 11 a.m. reversal on a listed stock. So it's a little bit different from what I normally trade because it's a listed stock, and I traded just a $5 risk level. And at 11:45, I did buy 100 shares at 110. So that was right here. I got in because, it had that move under VWAP. It was down 20-ish%. We had like a higher low right here. And it looked very good in the level 2. There was a lot of people supporting the bid and not as much people in the ask. It did take a very long time, but it actually was the longest time where it just traded back and forth in a certain price range. Not even this because it had a little blip under. Yeah, I waited a really long time, and unfortunately, I had to go and do something. I wasn't going to be on the computer anymore, and I did get out of the setup at what was it? This 11:57 time period right here for just a tick higher because it did uptrend just a little bit more. Unfortunately, I missed out, but this one worked out and went as high as 122 and an entry at 110. Doesn't seem like much, but it's actually like a 10% gain, max, potential. And it played nicely, it uptrended, higher low, makes another breakout past here, gets above VWAP, another higher low. It no longer got higher than this level. This was now a lower high, but yeah, I'm happy that I tried it, even though I wasn't able to really be a part of it because I had to sell and get out. But that's pretty much it for today. I hope I don't miss that many setups like I did on Monday. God willing, if I can be able to trade that day. Really unfortunate, but I'll try to get better and not try to, chicken out or hesitate. Just be a part of as many setups as I can that seem worth it. That's all I have for today.